my God, the dead has risen.
I didn't wait until Marvel Zombies came out to make a joke about me coming back from the dead. What do you mean? But in reality, I actually was just trying to lock in on school, but that just made me realize that I'm a dumbass. So now we are here today, and I'm going to give you my review of Marvel Zombies. But with that being said, let's get into it. Starting off, I have to give the animation in this show its flowers. I know it's just the same as the What If animation, but they do add more elements that make it feel more like an anime than just an animated kids show, if you know what I'm talking about. I say this because What If felt more toned down, like the animators were held back because of the show's rating. But this show goes all out with the details of blood, guts. When a zombie gets split open, it has a detailed human anatomy. It has everything. It's great. It's so fun to watch, and I love it. And another aspect of the animation I love is the moments when characters actually use their powers. Half the time, it felt like I was watching Goku go Super Saiyan, or like when One Punch Man goes from like the low budget to like the high budget animation. That's basically what it felt like, and I loved it. I loved it so much, and I felt like it worked really well. But moving away from the animation, I want to talk about the story and some of the characters, mostly one in particular. So, in terms of the story, I thought it was good enough to keep me engaged, and want to continue watching to find out what's next. But there is problems with the story that I'll address later. But overall, I thought that the story was pretty good, and that it continued the timeline of the What If Zombies episode. So that was good. I really liked that. And it worked in the sense of like, with all 4 episodes dropping at the same time, it like really allowed me to just like sit down for like a solid 2 hours, because each episode's only 30 minutes long. So it let me sit down for a solid 2 hours, watch the show that I was hyped up for. But there were some problems, like I said, that I'll talk about later. But overall, it was a pretty good story, and I hope that they do a good job if they make a second one. But now, the character that I want to talk about, and the one that I like the most, is Moon Knight Blade. Because this motherfucker is cool as fuck. He is so cool in this show. They kind of did him dirty in the final episode, I'm not gonna lie. They kind of did him dirty, but his moves and abilities and fight choreography was incredible. His fight with Ghost was so sick. With Zombie Ghost, that was so sick. This man was just like the definition of aura. He knew exactly where everything was, except I guess he just couldn't predict that Thor was just gonna absolutely demolish his ass by jumping at him with a sword. Like, that was kind of a dumb way for him to die, which that's something that I kind of didn't like as well, was that characters kind of died in stupid ass ways. Like, they just like snap and like they're gone. Not like a literal snap, obviously, but like 1 minute they're there, the next minute they're fucking dead. Which was kind of weird, like they just like wrote it off, but there were also some powerful deaths in the show. Like, Yelena's death was really like a powerful death and really hit. But then there was like the Red Guardian's death. They just like, they tried to make it a powerful thing, but it kind of just made Kamala look like a dumbass, in my opinion, because she has like a whole horde of zombies, and she, instead of pushing them away immediately, she just like stands there and like waits till last second for like dramatic effects. So it kind of just made that look like an idiot. But with Blade, it's kind of unfortunate that they were able to do Blade so well in this show, considering they haven't even been able to make a script for his movie yet. So, and like I don't even think he's getting a video game anymore. So it's really upsetting, even though he was in Deadpool and Wolverine, but that's like the old Blade that everybody's already seen. This is the new version of Blade, which I'm blanking on the actor's name that plays him, but like he proved in this that he can play Blade. So get this man in the costume and hurry the fuck up on the movie, because it made me want more Blade on my screen outside of playing like Marvel Rivals playing as Blade. Like this made me want a Blade movie, a solo Blade video game, that like the Wolverine one that's coming out, which that game looks sick, by the way. Might do a reaction to that. But yeah, it's just like, it really is a shame that they couldn't get Blade right in anything else, but they can do it in a 4-episode animation series about zombies, right? But some other characters that I liked were T'Challa, Kate, and Kamala. I know that I just said that Kamala kind of looked like an idiot, but I still did like her. And I mean, like, that should go without saying, considering she's like the main character pretty much. And they kind of wouldn't have done their job if I didn't like the main character, but I didn't like Miss Marvel. I didn't like that show. I thought that it was pretty bad. I wasn't a big fan of it. So for me to like Kamala slash Miss Marvel now is kind of a surprise to me, especially because when it started off and it introduced Kate, Kamala, and Riri, I thought that Kate was going to be the main character. I thought that Kate Bishop was going to be the main character, and then she got killed off in like the funniest way in the show. Like, that was like a dumb death, but it was like a funny dumb death, right? So I'll let it slide. Like, that shit was kind of hilarious. But I like Kamala just because she fits well in as like the only survivor, because she kind of like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like she's not supposed to be there, right? Like I said, how you think that like Kate Bishop or even like Riri would be the survivor just because of how much Marvel shoves Riri down people's throats. But it really was a surprise to me that she was like kind of the last one. Even in the other group, like Spider-Man and like Thor died before her, Valkyrie died, like everybody died except for her pretty much, right? So it was kind of a surprise, and I felt like it just fit as well because she's literally just like a scared kid that just happens to have superpowers, and she like just miraculously makes it to the end. So I thought that was good. But I like Kate because they basically just kept her the same as in the Hawkeye show. I mean, it doesn't really, like, when you think of like the timeline, it doesn't really make sense that she would be the way that she is with the bow and arrow and stuff like that. I mean, like, she was trained before, like she had a bow and arrow and stuff like that before Hawkeye, but it's like she's in like the same fit that she had in Hawkeye. It's like, and it's like 6 years early or something like that in the Marvel timeline, but that's not really that big of a deal because it's a different universe, so anything can happen, right? But she's good for the 2 episodes or episode that she's in, because she has some like quippy remarks and comments that made her character enjoyable in Hawkeye. So like she has those moments where it's just like it works, right? But that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't get built on very much because she just gets obliterated by zombie Captain Marvel. So, but lastly, the last character that I want to talk about that I really liked is T'Challa. This man had no lines in the entire show. He had no lines, but I liked him because he packed up Thanos in a 1v1. I don't give a damn if this guy was a zombie. I don't care. I don't care if Thanos was a zombie. He still had all 6 Infinity Stones halfway through the fight. T'Challa's on one goddamn leg, and he single-handedly saves the universe by nosediving into a pit of vibranium and exploding Thanos. That is some fucking cinema right there. No lines at all. And it still made him one of my favorite characters because of just how badass that is. But it also reminds me of how people kind of like undermine Black Panther in a lot of media forms nowadays. Like, people forget how strong Black Panther actually is. Like, in the comics, this man he's beaten Thanos and the Fantastic Four by himself. Like, people need to put some respect on Black Panther's name, bro. Like, He's him. He's that guy. So that really made me like him, especially since that's technically gonna be T'Challa's last appearance in a Marvel project, unless they like recast him. So at least Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa. So for them to make him a strong character and actually make a somewhat accurate Black Panther was really nice. That was a really nice thing to see, and it got me hyped. So, you know, there's that as well. There's that positive. But that's kind of it for the things that I liked, like really liked. There were some things that were like, that's all right, you know. Like the whole like Wanda thing was okay. Like it wasn't anything like crazy or anything. I almost feel like her being able to change herself back is kind of weird. But it also makes sense in a way. But then it also doesn't make sense how she would still be evil then. Yeah, it's just like I didn't dislike it, but it was just like I almost feel like it almost would have been better if she was just straight up zombie. And then they were just like trying to stop the world from turning into zombies, you know? Trying to stop the universe from turning into zombies. And that's actually something that I didn't even mention was the Nova Corps. That was one moment where it was like kind of a stupid moment. So, but I'm gonna put that into just the things that I don't like. So let's move on to that. Alright, first things first, I gotta talk about my guy Thor getting clapped up twice in one episode. Dude pulls up against zombie Thanos with Groot and Rocket and gets immediately folded in 5 seconds because this guy's default running in a straight line and gets the power of gods just shot directly at him, which incinerates Groot and Rocket and leaves him burnt and scarred. What are we doing, man? Like, what are we doing, man? He throws his axe at Thanos, hits him in the chest instead of the head again, and just gets cooked. Like, what are we doing, bro? Why are we doing that? Like, the writers in the show definitely don't like Thanos, because you're telling me, and this is where like my glaze for T'Challa contradicts itself, because you're telling me that Thor, the god of thunder, who kills Thanos in Endgame, whether it's an injured Thanos or not, he kills Thanos in Endgame. He like almost kills him in Infinity War. His fucking like the god of thunder, bro, can't beat zombie Thanos, who's practically an idiot because he's a zombie. But T'Challa with one leg, a man with a different version of the super soldier serum, doesn't get cooked? Come on, man. That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. I would understand if they were like, oh yeah, so Thor fought zombie Thanos, he put up a good fight, he laid in some good punches, but ultimately zombie Thanos fucking knocked his ass out and cooked him, and then he was already weak, so T'Challa was able to get in the final hit, right? That would be fine. But like, this guy T'Challa has one fucking leg, and he beat zombie Thanos. But Thor gets cooked in 5 seconds. And then in the same, I'm pretty sure it's the same episode, he gets packed up by zombie Wanda. Now, this one gets a little bit of a slide, right? He was sacrificing himself. He didn't really have any plan to like go out and actually like leave with them, right? But like, bro still lost back-to-back fights. Thor might actually be the worst fighter of all time. This guy gets chewed up and spat out. 3 times actually, because in the last episode, in the final episode, he shows up as a zombie, which is cool. And then Infinity Hulk, who didn't move the entire time, starts moving and just fucking crushes his ass, crushes his face. So Thor gets his ass kicked 3 times in a 4-episode series. That might be a worse ratio than Mark, and that man never wins a fight unless his girl is butt-ass naked. Like, the writers do not like Thor, man. I'm telling you, they do not like this guy, because he got packed up so many times. Folded, packed up, and shipped by Amazon. He got cooked, bro. But anyway, the next thing that bothers me, and it bothers me more than it should, and I kind of touched it for like a second earlier, is I am on the Riri Williams hate train. I am so sick of this character. It feels like she's being shoved down my throat every single time I watch a Marvel project. And the last 3 years, this character has been in like 6 or 7 Marvel projects, which is absolutely insane. And honestly, I wouldn't dislike the character so much if, one, she wasn't in every single Marvel project that comes out, and two, if she didn't say dumbass shit like this.
Do you think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire?
With a box of scraps in a cave!
But unfortunately, that's not the case. And I think that they're trying to make her the next Iron Man. Like, it feels like they're like, yeah, we want her to be the next Iron Man. But the problem with that is that it's not working at all. I feel no, like, emotion towards this character at all. In everything that she's been into, she's been like a different character. In Wakanda Forever in her show, she's Ironheart. But then in this, she's like a tech-savvy survivor. And then in What If, she's a like all-powerful fucking god that like saves the universe, right? It's like, why is she the one that's overpowered and everything? Even at the end of this, even at the end of the show, she goes, I hacked the signal to an illusion. How the fuck do you hack a signal to a mind illusion? How do you do that, bro? Like, no explanation about it, just, oh, I hacked a signal to a brain illusion. How the fuck do you do that? Like, she is always doing, like, the craziest shit and has the most amount of plot armor I've ever seen in my life. And instead of trying to make her the next Iron Man, being like the next face of Marvel, because they kind of did it with Spider-Man for a little bit too, and then they like went away from it, and now it's just Spider-Man, right? And people are hyped for it. Just make the first Riri Williams, like, so that I can actually have care for the character. I can actually, when she's on my screen, I can be like, oh yeah, I want her on my screen. I want to watch this character because she's an interesting character that doesn't just feel like an Iron Man ripoff. Right? But I'm moving away from the show, so let's get back on track. The last thing I want to talk about is the ending, which in my opinion is kind of dumb. And when I say the ending, I guess I should say like the final battle, not the ending, because like the illusion stuff was cool, other than like I said with Riri magically hacking an illusion. But like that's a cool concept in itself, right? Where she can't actually fix the world, but she can like give an illusion to everybody and every zombie and make it think that it's fine, right? That's a cool concept, right? And I hope that they build on that if they make a second season. But the final fight was a little bit dumb, because you're telling me that Infinity Hulk, who has the powers of the Infinity Stones fully harnessed, or at least the energy, can't win this fight? But Infinity Ultron, in season 1 of What If, in the season 1 finale of What If, clapped up Wanda, the same zombie Wanda, in like 5 seconds. Come on now. We can't be forgetting what we wrote before, Marvel. Like, you swear that they just completely forgot what they wrote about before. Because if Ultron can pack her up, so can Hulk. Which, Hulk was putting up a good fight, but like, bro's just like standing still, punching air and getting rid of the zombies. And I don't think that, I don't think it's the case where it's like, oh, he can't use the power of the Infinity Stones, because the very first punch that this guy throws is on Abomination. And what happens? He punches this guy with a Kamehameha wave. Like, deadass. He punches him with a Kamehameha wave and one-shots this guy. So you're telling me that he can't do this for the entire horde? He can't just shoot a whole ass fucking beam and just kill them, right? And bro was air punching zombies 1,000 feet away by not even touching them. It was like, it almost seemed like they just made it so that, because like bro was way too nonchalant in this fight. He was just standing there, his facial expressions, all that shit. It just looked like he didn't want the power anymore, right? They were like, oh, it's a burden, blah, 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 right? So like, I think that like that's why he lost, was because they were trying to like be like, oh yeah, he doesn't want the power anymore. But if they're gonna do that, right, then like be more direct with it and make it actually visible, other than just like some slight facial expressions, and then just be like, and then just have Wanda be like, oh, it's such a burden, isn't it? Right? Like, make it more evident. Like when they're at Carmartage and they're talking about, oh, well, we need a Hulk, they could literally just throw in a line there and just be like, oh, it's such a burden for him, he doesn't want the power anymore. Right? Like something like that. And then it would make way more sense why he's like not really trying to fight them off that much, you know? Because he doesn't. Like he demonstrated in the fight with Thor that he has the ability to like jump around and shit. But like bro just stands in one spot and just throws hands. That's basically what he does, which is cool. But like he realistically, like he shouldn't have lost that fight. So I think that that's a little bit dumb. But this, I'm gonna end this because this is already 2 pages long, which is way longer than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, so in short, is Marvel Zombies good? Yes. The show is good, and if you haven't watched it yet, it's only been out for a day, I think that you should watch it. It has some flaws, for sure, but overall, it was a fun and exciting watch, and I would be down for another season. And if they make another season, I hope that it's more than 4 episodes long. They knocked it out of the park with the 4 episodes that they had, though. Like, the story lines up well, they integrated different characters well and how they meet well, and it was just, it worked, in my opinion, and I think that it was good. Especially since I thought that this would be like a weekly episode thing, but I like that you could just jump straight in and go right to the next episode, considering it's only 4 episodes long, right? So overall though, I would give Marvel Zombies a 7.5 out of 10. It was good, but it wasn't out of this world, and the characters were also dumb sometimes. Like they had some dumb moments, right? Like I mentioned with Kamala, or like there were just some other ones where they were like escaping zombies and then they were just like idiots all of a sudden. Like they had that like classic like horror movie trope where like the horror character like just like falls down or some shit or does some stupid ass shit. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like and subscribe. This is my first video like this where I actually like made a script, or well, I guess a light script, because I went off script sometimes. But yeah, this is the first video where it's like that. So if you guys enjoyed, then let me know in the comments and I'll do this more. I'm probably gonna do one sort of like this, maybe like more like a video essay sort of thing on Iron Man 1 soon. So if you want that, then make sure to stay tuned, and feel free to join my Discord with the link in the description if you want to be a bigger part of the community. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.